Hello runners, Steve the Footman here from In Training Running Center. Today I'm going to do a review on the new VONGO New Balance stability shoe. Really, I think a fantastic shoe. There's quite a few things which have changed from the previous VONGOs, which almost makes it a totally different shoe. It's basically the 1080, which has been extremely popular shoe for us. They've taken a new improved features of the 1080 and incorporated it into a stability shoe, which is now the VONGO. One thing about the 1080 is it's a very smooth, soft feel. So when you're running, it's like a very smooth transition from your heel strike onto the forefoot. And it's because it has this big rocker sole, but also because of the type of material that the midsole is made out of. So it's a really nice, plush, fresh foam midsole, which is New Balance's midsole material. And they've basically incorporated that into the VONGO shoe. So it's the same midsole, except for the fact that this is a stability shoe and the 1080 is a neutral shoe. So what they've done is that on the inside here, they've added some little bit firmer density cells within the midsole, and it's mostly towards the middle of the foot and a little bit at the rear. And you can sort of see that slightly different sort of coloration that's going on there. And what that does is that as you sort of land in the outside of your heel and roll through, it gives you that little bit more stability on the inside. The other thing which they've done, which is a little bit more subtle to see, but they've actually flared out the side of the midsole. So if you can compare those two, it's kind of hard to see, but basically on the VONGO, it sort of sticks out a little bit more, and that gives it a little bit more control also for people that need that anti-pronation control. This is a shoe that I think really has been needed in the marketplace, which is one of those really super soft, comfortable, smooth shoes, which also has that extra stability, because almost all of the super shoes basically have no medial control. So there's no extra support on the inside, and some people need that. And so this is a really great alternative type of shoe for high mileage training, for the people that want to have that smooth, soft feel. There's a few other great things about it. Certainly the midsole is sort of the major thing which has changed. But also it uses the hypo-knit upper, which this is the only sort of shoe, well, actually the 1080 was the only shoe that actually had this ability to stretch out the upper like that, so that if you have bunions or lumps on your toes, that it can conform around your foot. If you look at all of the other shoes, if you sort of push on it like there, you can see that it pushes out a little bit, but nothing like what this hypo-knit upper does. There's a little bit of a difference between the VONGO and the 1080 in that hypo-knit upper, and that the really stretchy bit here, which you can see with the extra holes, is a little bit of a smaller space in comparison to what the 1080 had, which is a much larger space. So there's a little bit more stretchiness in the 1080, but a little bit more durability and support in the upper of the VONGO. The outsole's pretty identical. It's got some big lugs in it. I think it'll be quite a durable outsole, but it's not really an outsole that you would use for trail running. So should be a very durable shoe, I think, this one. Probably even more durable than the 1080, which was surprisingly durable. The cushioning lasts heaps with this fresh foam midsole, really lasts a long time. Okay, so the other thing which is a little bit different is the 1080 uses that new heel counter, which is, it's almost like a really thin structure that sort of just grabs your heel, and it can conform around your heel. And so it's, for some people found that it didn't sort of feel like it grabbed your heel as well. But when you're running, you don't really notice that so much. But they've gone back to a more traditional heel counter here with the padding around the collar. And so it does feel a little bit more traditional. They have flared out the back so that it doesn't dig into your Achilles when you toe off. So some really great features in this shoe. I think people are going to really find, if they need stability and they've wanted that soft, cushy feel, that this is going to be the shoe for them. So one of the best updates, I think, of the last year. And I'd basically rate this as a 5 out of 5. It's towards, it's a high mileage shoe, so it's a little bit heavier than some of those other shoes. but you know, most modern shoes aren't too heavy these days, and it's certainly a little bit firmer feel in it when you're running in it compared to the 1080. But that's because it has that extra stability. At the moment, it's women's B and men's D, but there will be widths coming out. That's the women's color, which is really very pretty shoe, isn't it? So they're really nice looking shoes as well. And the men's size 9 is 289 grams. So as I said, slightly on the heavier end. And the stack height is 27 in the heel and 19 in the forefoot. So that's an 8mm heel drop. 259, so fairly reasonable price for such a fantastic shoe. Really suggest you should come in and try on the Vongo and certainly have a run in it. You can really feel that difference. It's just so soft on initial impact and such a smooth action. So New Balance Vongo out now. Come into training and try it out.